Hello, everyone. Welcome to Daily Meditation, Life Coaching Insights, and Heart Forward Music. My name's Victor, and I appreciate you coming back to the podcast. I'm hoping that me sharing my journey with you helps you in your journey. And these insights that I share and thoughts that I share hopefully resonate with you in a way that helps you navigate through your journey in a more healthier and positive and happier way. What we're going to be talking about today is something that I think is really, really important in starting a healing journey for anyone. And it's a difficult one because this particular topic, I find that we have a difficult time embracing this because it's challenging, and some people describe it as extremely painful and crippling, but also liberating. At the end of the day, that really is what it's all about, is becoming accountable for our own emotions, for our own feelings, for our own actions. And that can be extremely difficult sometimes when you're dealing with difficult situations, difficult people, difficult family members, difficult personal relationships. And the key really is to taking responsibility. And I know that there's a lot of memes out there, some great memes, really positive outlook type memes that talk about taking responsibility and taking action for yourself so that, we can move forward. But I also think that we have to take responsibility not just for the good stuff, but also for the bad stuff, whether it's our own actions and whether it's our own repercussions that we impose on others and also on ourselves. And really, when we're trying to develop and trying to build our own self-esteem and our own healing process after trauma or after really stressful and tension-filled lives, we also have to investigate and dive deep and try to find out why it was that we put ourselves in those situations and take responsibility for that. One of the most impactful lessons for me in the last couple of years was a time where I had to make a decision on something, and it was a time where I was feeling extremely, extremely empty. In other words, I felt like I had no more energy to give to anything, especially myself. And we all go through those stages. And I share this with you because a lot of times when we're feeling that way, we're very self-judgmental. And I just want to share with you that if you're feeling this way, just embrace it. As difficult as it may seem, it's almost like hugging a porcupine, right? I mean, it's like, wow, that hurts, and embracing that hurts. And what are you talking about, Victor? The last thing I want to do is feel what I'm feeling, and I can certainly relate to that. But I also think that taking responsibility for what we are feeling is really the key to things. So coming back to my experience was that there was a situation that I noticed some behavior in some people, and it was something that I had noticed in these particular people in the past, and it was behavior that I felt that for me was not appropriate, but what I learned about this was that I had to take responsibility for how I saw this behavior, and I had to look at it in the sense of why it was that it bothered me. And I think that you probably know where I'm going with this, but the thing is that when we look at other people's behavior and we find that it doesn't resonate with us and it's not aligned with who we are, there's two things that I think are critical. One is non-judgmental. When we're analyzing these things and we're looking at behavior or any situation that bothers us, I think that it's important to not judge the person or not judge the people in a way that's punishment ridden, or wishing negativity on somebody. Because really, at the end of the day, the responsibility is on us to manage how we're feeling about the situation. And that's the second part to this. It's really taking self-responsibility. And that's something that I highly encourage you to explore. If you feel like you're not sure exactly what that means and how to do that, what I can say to you is get some coaching, get some help. I assure you that when you do that and you find the right coach and you find the right counselor for you, you're gonna start to understand these concepts a little bit deeper. But my recommendation is when you're looking for help is find a coach or a counselor or someone that you can talk to that understands things on a deeper layer. A lot of times we go to our friends and we go to our family members, and those are things that are really good. It's important to be able to talk to these people that surround us, but I also think that when you go with someone that is professionally trained, but also is mindful and also has a deep understanding of possibly what you may be experiencing, if you see a counselor or a coach that is only going to agree with you, but really not challenge you to dive deep and to take responsibility, then I feel that you may be missing in some opportunities to really gain some very useful insights. There's a friend of mine recently that I've been communicating with, and actually she's a meditation coach. I'll call her that just for the sake of conversation. But I find that she's much more than a meditation coach. I would call her more of a spiritual alignment coach. And many years ago, I'm gonna say probably 25 years ago, I went to her and I sat through a guided meditation session with her, and it was amazing and it was extremely emotional, and that's actually what planted the seed for me to explore my own journey in meditation and mindfulness. The experience with her was extremely powerful and extremely revealing to me. And I say that because what she's been talking about recently is, and it reminded me so much of my session with her, was we have to embrace, both the good and the bad inside of us. I made a post. I think it said something like, if we can fight the outside world, but can we fight the world inside of us? Meaning that struggle, that journey, that need for peace and healing. And her response to that really reminded me of my session with her, because what she responded was something along the lines of, why not embrace both and find a balance? Something along those lines, but I think it makes sense and it probably resonates with you as well. But her response really resonated with me because it reminded me of my session with her, again, over 20 some years ago. And it's an experience that I'll never forget. And she's very good at what she does. But the other thing was that experience with her is really what prompted me to explore meditation and mindfulness and learning how to coach and help others in that process, because she helped me at a time, and I wanted to explore becoming a meditation coach, if you will, myself, because I wanted to implement and learn more about that whole world and how it relates to our everyday life. And so I encourage you to take responsibility for the good stuff, but also for the bad stuff, because it really is about embracing that painful porcupine of our own emotions, our own confusion, our own issues, and getting a sense of what it feels like. Maybe those thorns or prickles on that porcupine, whatever it's called, aren't going to be as sharp as we think they are. Or if they are, with time, we'll understand where that is coming from. A lot of us, we often, when we're in these situations and we're feeling pain, we're feeling anxiety, we're feeling desperation, we reach out to our closest friends and our closest relatives, or a combination of both. But it's important to really explore, if you're looking for truly significant insight, and collaboration with you on your journey. It's difficult to find someone that is going to keep you company through this process. Most people want to provide a quick solution, but if you look around, and most of these solutions are, for lack of a better word, they're very mundane. They are typically more reactions rather than responses. If you share with someone something about maybe somebody that hurt you, or somebody that you feel victimized you, most people's reaction is to condemn perhaps that person, or basically place judgment, and sometimes that is required. But I'm talking about more of the situations where you're feeling like you're not living your best life, and oftentimes most people are in that same position as we are, and they just don't know it. They're stuck in autopilot. And maybe we're coming out of autopilot. We're realizing that there's got to be a better way to do this. And that's something that I hold very, very dear to my heart and to myself, in everything that I do in coaching, in my massage therapy practice, in writing music. I always feel like there's a better way to do this. And sometimes that's good and sometimes that's bad, but I embrace it, and we've got to take responsibility for that. But that typically happens when we're getting out of autopilot, and we're realizing that the life we're living is not the best life that we could be living. And most people that find themselves in that situation will grasp at these very positive memes, but just don't take action on them. They're inspiring, and they sound beautiful, and they give you the warm fuzzies, but it's very difficult to say, how can I attain that? And how do I start doing the work to get there? And really, that's where the challenge is doing the work, embracing that porcupine, if you will, again, and diving deep and taking responsibility. And this is an everyday journey. It's not something that happens, and then it's over, because life has ups and downs, and it really is about learning how to use discernment and cultivating discernment to be able to live a more peaceful life. A lot of times our job requires certain things, our careers require certain things, and I see a lot of us living in autopilot, going back and forth. And one thing I'll leave you with is, when you're experiencing these things, if I know in my journeys, I shared some of my struggles and my pains with some folks, and oftentimes they mean well, but they'll say things like, it's going to get better and you'll get back to normal. And I started exploring that, and I thought, well, wait a minute. Normal is what got me in this position. Normal is what put me in this place where I'm feeling like there's got to be a better way, and it's extremely painful to not make the changes. That's going to hurt more than actually putting in the work, and embracing all of the challenges that come with putting in the work and the change. I don't want to go back to normal, because normal is not productive for me, and everybody makes their choice where they feel they belong. And I'm a big fan of that movie, The Matrix. When it came out, I was like, that is the best movie ever, because it really touches on some really interesting things about being normal and seeing the world through a particular lens, typically the lens that we get when we're born in schools, and it just keeps putting us in the same position. But that's certainly another topic. Again, everyone, thanks so much for tuning in. I hope that you find this podcast useful and insightful. Have a good day. Thanks so much.